right, so here we have a problem. New block. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we're here. Okay, it's just us two right now. We haven't introduced you just yet, so you're not on screen just yet. But you will be here in a moment.
Link has been sent to you.
Oh, got it. Oh, I see me. Okay.
Oh, I see me. Okay, let me share it as well on my end. We doing mainly Facebook, or what do you think?
I'm doing it in the group, and then I'll share it on my page as well. So
cool. Did it pop up on YouTube yet? There it is.
If it did, I don't see it.
I've got it. I've got it. Copy that link, baby. And here we go. Moving on to the minds.com and the parlor.com, and I believe we'll be set to go. I hope everybody's ready for this little ride. It's going to be a good one, I think. Oop. Get myself comfy. All right. And I set a drink somewhere, but I ain't get the foggiest idea where the hell I set my drink at.
You're going to have to tough it out for the next hour, my man.
Once upon a time, I had some water. That's just how I roll. All right, so we got...
When did we have subtitles on our show?
We didn't. What are you talking about?
We do now.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So for the hearing impaired, guess what? You're with us tonight. Okay. All right, man, I'm done.
Well, go ahead and introduce the show. Tell people kind of what's in store for them.
All right, guys, welcome to Unframe of Mind. I am your host, Anthony Trawick, and over here is...
I'm Daniel Wagner.
Daniel Wagner. And basically, we are here to have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. Tonight's guest is Kitty Drag Queen Demure. You can say it plenty of different ways if you like. We'd like to welcome Kitty onto the show. Kitty, welcome.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Okay, running the intro now.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your hosts battle the forces of evil by lobbing fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls.
This is why I don't do the intro. You know this. You know this, man. Come on.
It was. I'm sorry. It just seemed like the right thing to do.
For the last almost 2 years, you're the one that's been running the intro. So
all right, that's
way
fine.
to put me on the spot and make me look horrible.
No, I appreciate it.
You're an ass.
Of course, this was your idea, running 10 shows in a row.
It was my idea, but you got to admit, this is actually kind of fun. Different guests, different people. Yeah, so we got Kitty tonight. So, and kind of want to briefly talk about what?
Let's enjoy her company then.
Well, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was just adding on to
Boy,
what
I tell you what, when we talked earlier, you're like taking notes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow the notes.
Yeah, I wasn't.
And
I
you're
wasn't
like,
trying to.
no, I'm going to jump right into it.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to interrupt you or nothing. I was just trying to add on to what you were already saying.
Now, basically, we decided to run 10 shows in 10 days, kicking off tonight with Kitty Demure. Coming up tomorrow night, actually tomorrow afternoon. So for the folks watching, it is a different time than we originally had planned for all the other guests, which has been 7 o'clock. We're having Dia Beltran on the show. She's going to be coming in live from Australia. That show is going to be at 2 o'clock tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Hagatha will be joining us again. That's going to be a show that nobody's really going to want to miss, and that is actually at 7 p.m. on April 11th. April 12th, we have Jen Lowe coming on at 7 p.m. as well, and then on April 13th, Myra will be joining us at 7 p.m., and then former Playboy photographer David Meesey will be joining us April 15th at 7 p.m. We do have 3 slots available for the rest of the 10 days. Or the little time that we have left. So if anybody wants to come on and be a guest to talk about anything and everything, we would love to have you on. So with that being said, we're going to get this kicked off, and we are going to have our first full conversation with Kitty Demure. So Kitty, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
We're hanging out. We're hanging out. I had nothing better to do today. I mean, we're kind of locked down in quarantine and that kind of thing. So, there was a number of things that we were going to talk about tonight. So I guess what I'm most interested in is maybe letting people get to know who you are a little bit, tell them a little bit about yourself, and that way we're not all totally in the dark here. So I'll just let you get started.
All right. So my name is Kitty Demure. I used to be a drag queen. I mostly my drag experience was with working in a nightclub in LA. I got into producing the shows. I'd always been interested in drag, so I eventually said, "What the hell?" Performed one night and liked it. Didn't I did about 3 years of performing, in front of the camera and also behind the scenes. I still kept, producing shows, and I did a lot of work with all of the contestants of RuPaul's Drag Race and a lot of the winners.
Oh,
I would
wow.
assist them and things like that. And
Okay.
once I left the club, I just stopped performing and worked exclusively online.
So, what was your reasons for wanting to stop? I mean, was there a specific incident that may have happened, or was this just something that kind of geared you into a different direction?
Well, the day I walked out of the club. Once I quit the club and I quit performing, I became a judge. Um, I would judge contests, performances, and pageants and things like that. And one day I just got tired of the politics. they
Right.
they love to bring politics into the gay world. Just even if you're just performing on a stage, they have to let you know what they think politically. And one day the host of the show
Kind of like,
was
sorry to interrupt, but
what?
sorry to interrupt, but kind of like vegans and atheists. Just they just
Right.
gotta let you know.
Yeah, they'll
What
let you know.
was
It's
it?
like,
CrossFit
who
now?
cares? Nobody cares. I'm sitting here to watch a show. I'm not here to hear you tell me what you think politically. It just, I don't
Right.
get it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, people just can't leave things where they should be. But I was sitting there judging, and they were going on about politics. The host from the stage was, and I saw at least two heterosexual couples, which was rare in the club, who wanted to see a show. They got up and walked out, and I could see them physically getting uncomfortable by the constant politics. So they left, and I decided that was my last day judging. So the owner of the club called me and he goes, "Hey, you're going to come in?" I said, "Nah, I don't think so." And that was a couple years ago, and he never called me since.
Well, that's a
So
Wow.
that's a
yeah,
damn shame. That's a damn shame nowadays. It seems like everybody has to make sure you know what their politics are so that you can make a determination whether or not to be their friend or whether or not you're allowed in their social circle. It's like, what does it? I mean, it used to be these things didn't matter quite so much, but over the last maybe 5-6 years,
I'd say maybe a little longer, 10 years, maybe you would say,
just
Kitty.
like there's a drift into slowly but surely we're supposed to care what your politics are. When previously it was like mainly politicos that is where you got your politics from, like just the people that were really involved in it, really cared, and then you'd have to kind of ask them about it, and then even if you did disagree, people would not have a big old battle over it. They would not unfriend you on Facebook. They would still be your friend in the morning. You guys could still get along. It's like, good Lord, man.
Right.
well, it's so funny how we come from a place where it used to be, oh, we don't judge each other, to now we absolutely judge each other according to political views. And that's the weirdest thing that I've seen.
Yeah, it's strange.
Wow.
I've even caught myself doing it, and I have to almost like mentally slap my own hand in a way, because I'll see somebody going through the store, say with like some kind of like neon purple hair or something, and I kind of find myself
Kind of like Hagatha.
yeah, well, kind of, but I find myself kind of automatically assuming that I might know a few things about their politics based on their hair color, whereas back in like when I was in high school, you couldn't really tell anything about a person just because their hair was that color. You just it's like little things like that I'm starting to notice myself even doing, and I know better than that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something you guys have found yourselves kind of
No, it's just
prejudging people in a way accidentally, like
I
not
think a
even
lot of
meaning
that. I
to.
think a lot of that has to do with age as well. Life experiences has taught us as we get older, to kind of sit back and not be so critical of what other people look like, but rather get to know them as an individual. I mean,
Well, I see where you're going, but I thought you were going the opposite direction, because it seems like the older I get, the more quick I am to kind of place somebody in a category unfairly, even without even realizing I'm doing it.
No,
Almost like just like the collected experience that I've had over my life tells me a little bit about how people carry themselves, the way they dress, the way they present themselves. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's completely unfair, to do that because some people do dress a certain way to try to broadcast a certain message. You know, if I'm wearing a 49ers gear going through Walmart,
Would you though?
I wouldn't, but I'm just saying if somebody's going to wear a 49ers jersey or something, you know, they kind of are broadcasting to the world,
right,
I'm a 49ers fan. And if you're not, that's kind of weird. Why would you wear that? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Maybe it's a little bit, I don't know, but it's just kind of, you get older with experience and you know more like what people are more going to tend to be or believe, but you also have the wisdom to know not to automatically make that judgment either. So it's kind of like a catch-22.
Yeah, I guess it really just kind of depends on the person, to be honest with you. You know, what do you think, Eddie? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I mean, I see both points of view. I mean, I'm older now, so I can sort of I do continue to judge people on their appearance because, like Daniel said, you know, you sort of broadcast what you believe in your appearance. So I kind of take people on face value on what they look like. I kind of believe what they look like. That might be an aspect of their belief system or whatever they, you know, like or dislike. And, you know, and at some point, all stereotypes are kind of based in reality. So
right.
So
I want to hit the comments right quick. Amanda from Facebook says my hair is purple and I'm Republican. See, Amanda, I would have looked at you and maybe just for if only for a moment, and in my head you'd have never known it. I may have just automatically assumed you might have been a liberal, and I wouldn't have done it on purpose, and I wouldn't have said anything to you. I know I'm going to talk to you first and get to know you. I can now. One thing I have noticed is over time I've learned to trust my gut instincts on the first 15 seconds of actually talking to someone, getting to kind of get a sense of who they are within the actual interaction. I'm not talking just standing back and looking at their appearance. I'm talking about the first 15 seconds of interaction. I know Malcolm Gladwell talks about this in his book Blink, and it's the idea that, you know, you know a lot more about a person than you think you do in those first few seconds. And most people just try to ignore that feeling and ignore their gut feeling. And I've learned to trust it, and it has done me really well so far.
Oh, absolutely. So I got to ask, Kitty, what was your first impression of Daniel here with that beard? What did you think?
Let me think.
You know what? That you had to even think, it tells me everything I need to know. You should just know. You should just know these things. Fuck's sake,
I don't
man.
know how old you guys are, but the first thing I thought of was ZZ Top.
ZZ Top.
Oh, everybody says that. How original, Kitty. Boy, you are a comedian, aren't you?
You know, I picture you, you know, maybe listening to like rock music. I don't know.
Go on.
That's about it. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? I'll tell you this. Whenever I grew a beard, I thought I looked better with it.
I do think I look better with it.
You might, yeah, you're probably covering your face.
I am. So let me tell you, so far you're on point. Rock's my favorite genre of music. I'm not really a big ZZ Top fan, but anyway, sorry, I got distracted by the comments from our friend Bayonet. I'll read that in a moment. Anyway, the chin thing, I have a really short chin, so I found that the beard kind of makes my face look longer and more masculine, if you will. So it really does help because I swear to God, if I'm shaved, clean shaven, I look like a 13-year-old little boy. It's
I believe you.
It's sad.
You're not Catholic, are you?
Facial hair is man's makeup. That's
good.
I can't grow any facial hair.
I've never thought of that.
I can't do it.
But you've got a sexy face, homie.
I am almost 40 years old, and I cannot grow a beard to save my life.
But you got one of those faces that looks like when you shave it, you just want to you want to touch it. You want to caress it.
Just touch it.
Yeah, there's like like if you put some kind of aftershave lotion on, I just want to come up here and smell it and feel it and touch it.
I am like this big burly guy, and I've got no facial hair to go with that. And it is. I wouldn't say it's embarrassing. Like, for me being Italian, I have very little hair on my body, which is very unusual. Now, I've got the dark complexion. I got the thick eyebrows, the full lips, the dark hair. But outside of that, I can't grow any body hair, can't grow any facial hair. It might be a blessing in disguise. I don't know.
My buddy is from he's Sicilian.
He's Sicilian, yeah.
And ever since like freshman year, that dude's had to shave twice a day for his whole life. I'm like, Jesus.
Wow.
That dude is hairy, and it grows so fast. So Bayonet says, Anthony and Daniel, can you please remove those electronics from your laps? I wouldn't want your chestnuts to roast.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, but I don't have a producer like some of these high end shows. So I'm literally producing, and I'm the one over here hitting buttons and switching scenes between stuff. So I have to have the keyboard at close range. So I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to just imagine what the nuts look like under the keyboard. Sorry, man.
We already talked about mine last night, so
That's
we won't
right.
go there again.
That's right.
But no, for a lot of the new folks that are currently tuning in tonight, if you're not familiar with our show, we talk about everything from social issues to LOLs, relationships, parenting. I mean, we cover a broad spectrum of topics. We're not just political. Of course, obviously, if you see some of the things that we discuss on our page, it could probably divert you otherwise. But tonight, we wanted to have Kitty on because she has got a video that is on YouTube, a part of the Walkaway campaign that really got the attention, I guess, of the movement itself. Last time I looked, it had 104,000 views. It has over, I think, 2,000 comments. What was that experience like for you, and what kind of drove you to walk away from the Democratic side? What was it that did it for you?
Well, I've always been kind of a moderate, and I don't know. I saw the way the left was kept going more left, and I just I got tired of how can I put it, I'm really into the illegal immigration thing. Okay. And, I live in California, and we have a huge population here, and I've lived here my whole life. So I've seen the way it can degrade a town or an area and a culture and a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else was talking about it. No one talked about it. They were welcoming them with open arms. And I'm thinking, okay, it's getting a little too much, And so I don't know, maybe that and me getting older and me thinking about, my lifestyle, my culture, the way I want to, live my life in my city. And, I saw, how liberal democratic policies were aiding in, basically affecting the quality of my life. So I, when Donald Trump came up, I go, well, I heard everything he had to say, and he spoke exactly what was on my heart. So that's what led me to vote for him. But to completely, I came across the Walkaway campaign, and I saw it when it started up, and the founder, Brandon Strzok, he was encouraging people to make their own videos, like a testimonial video of why they're walking away. So I did this video one night. I was doing some videos online, and I decided to hit record and do this testimonial video. And what really people liked about it was the fact that I took off my makeup while I'm talking. I'm removing my makeup, and at the end you just see the guy. And that seemed to resonate with a lot of people. That's why it got a lot of views, and I got a lot of attention for that. And after that, I volunteered with the organization. I went in Riverside, California. I volunteered there. In West Hollywood, California, I announced a panel of people for a discussion. And that's where it's led me. And it kind of led me into this whole online, almost like political activism. And now I'm speaking up for drag queens. I'm against drag queens reading to children. So that's, I have another video out there that's, basically gone viral, and it's all around the world. And I get messages from everybody around the world. This is like a global problem that people are having. So I kind of just find myself now as this spokesperson, the only, gay drag queen to really stand up, or the first one anyway, to stand up and say anything.
Wow, that's awesome. It's been something that we've noticed too. Is over time it tends to be something that it's a global phenomenon. These same issues keep popping up over and over and over again. We've seen it, in Europe with the Brexit movement. We've got a number of friends in Australia that are talking about the same exact issues. Mm-hmm, that the politicians are interested in open borders. Nope. Am I still here? Okay. Yeah. So the politicians are interested in more like the open borders policy, and the people are over here going, no, please stop that. And it's like, it's been a couple decades now. A lot of political pundits have been talking about it. Slowly but surely, it's getting more and more attention in the mainstream. And it's like the people want one thing and the government wants something else. the media is backing up the government, and people are sitting here going, "What the fuck, man? This is not cool. This is like, it's like, what am I even doing voting? What good is it doing me when the people I even vote in are on the campaign trail? They're saying one thing, and then when they're in office, they're doing the exact opposite. Like, what, you know? So you mentioned Trump said some stuff and that was already on your heart, and you wanted to see that through. Is in your experience, or from your observations so far, do you feel like that's been done or is being done, or everything he said?
I think it's, well, he's completely fighting his way the whole time. So I know everything has not come to fruition that he has said, but it is on its way to getting done. And there's constantly people pushing him back. If anything, what I have seen just living in Southern California is just, how can I put it? I don't want to say the fear, but everybody is talking about it. I know people who have self-deported themselves because, I grew up with illegal people. And I know people who have self-deported just to get it over with and just start the ball rolling. And that's just a different attitude change. People know now that they are in danger of, maybe deportation or not getting, their green cards or whatever. So people have, it's sort of lit a fire under people to become legal or to go home and do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And you just hear the conversations everywhere. And, I live in an area, it's actually very red in California where I live, but a lot of people, you can't openly display your support. Like, there's a few cities in my area that do, like, you'll see maybe a sign in somebody's yard, but for the most part, you can't show your support or anything.
So how have your liberal friends been since you've decided to join the walkaway and kind of made that transition from Democrat to Republican? What's the experience been like for you?
Well, I know for sure that if I ever want to perform again, it'll never happen. Not here. The funny thing is, I have not had anybody openly just like chastise me or tell me, how horrible I am. Nobody that I know personally. Mm-hmm. If anybody that I know personally, if they don't like what I'm doing, they just sort of just disappear. The thing with the drag community is if you're not right in front of them, you don't really exist. So the fact that I kind of left the circle, you're kind of forgotten about anyway, because if you're not in the club, then you're not in the scene, then you're really not in the community. So
and don't exist.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, you don't exist. If you're not with them, you don't exist. So because of my walkaway thing and my standing up against Drag Queen Storybook Hour, I have attracted more gay people and trans people that feel the same way that I do. And we're finding ourselves sort of coordinating and all getting together to sort of create a different community of normal gay people. I mean, I know a lot of heterosexuals won't see it as normal, or the far right won't, because we're battling them still too, because they want us to shut up. They don't like the fact that we actually speak up.
Yeah, I totally understand. You're kind of stuck right in the middle of the whole of both ends of the spectrum, so to speak. And I do not envy you your battle on that, but I understand the need to be who you are in this world and try to express that in any way possible. I'm still kind of stuck on when you were talking about how I can't express my political views in public. Like I can't publicly express them. That's it does speak to the fact that I thought about I'm an anarchist. I don't really pay attention. Right. I pay attention, but I don't vote. I don't participate in government. But I wanted to get a Make America Great Again hat just to see what happens.
You just want to start shit.
That's just the kind of person I am. But the fact that I even know that it would have the potential to start something tells me a whole lot about my local community. Like you mentioned on the way to one of the shows one time, going into a gas station. You want to tell that story real quick?
So I don't think I've even had a chance to tell you, Kitty. Now, for those of us that don't know the three of us, we'll probably Kitty more, but we've got a great relationship with Kitty, and we've, this is the first time having on. But so what happened is that I was wearing a Donald Trump T-shirt that I got when I was in Baltimore. And it was basically a thug body with a bunch of tattoos. It had, Make America Great Again, had the wall on it, and had a couple of guns, and it had Trump's head kind of cropped onto this body. And I wore this T-shirt into a gas station, and the woman behind the counter would not like take care of me. She would not check me out. Would not. Just would not do it. And then she had to get somebody that was stocking candy to come up to the front and to check me out. Now, this was a woman that worked behind the counter that I've had a chance to get to know because I frequent, yeah, that's the shirt right there. So it's great, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
This is a woman that I had actually had conversations with because I gone to this, gas station so often. And that really, because of that shirt, it showed me the kind of person that she was. Very unfortunate because she was a sweet lady. And it wasn't to provoke anybody. It was a shirt that I had planned on wearing for the show. And it just so happens I had it on when I walked into a store, and it created just this element that I just never thought would happen because you see it on the news, you see it online, but for myself, I never thought I would be in a situation where somebody would not serve me because I am a Trump supporter. And for the first time in my life, I was like, I'm thinking about coming back up here every day wearing this Trump shirt. That's kind of the way I felt about it. So I don't know. I mean, it's just wanting to provoke, but kind of shifting gears a little bit with you. So the drag queen, what is it? The storytelling that you do?
Drag queen story.
Yes. So what kind of enticed you to, I guess, counter rebut what's been going on where people saying that should be accepted, and obviously you're against it? What kind of brought that on? What was the first incidents that you saw that happen and just kind of maybe lit a fire in your ass to say, no, that's not okay?
Well, it was several things. I knew it was happening. I didn't know actually it was happening prior to I guess when it became the news. To me, drag is an adult entertainment.
Right.
It's something you do in a 18 and over club with alcohol, strippers, go-go boys, and drag queens are often sexual. The acts are often sexual in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that they were bringing that, first of all, that kids were starting to do drag, and I went, well, what does that mean? Are they just sitting at home putting on makeup? I mean, a lot of people do that. A lot of kids play around.
Right.
But then I found out, no, they're actually performing, and they're actually, there's some who've gone into clubs, and I see adult men throwing money at them. And I was like, this isn't right. This isn't like drama or theater at school. This is an actual, it's a performance in a nightclub, and they're treating this kid as if they were a performer. And
or a sexual object, I would assume.
Right, yeah. Right. Because there's always an element there. I don't want to say always, because someone will call me out on it. 90-something% of the time, there is a sexual element to drag.
Yeah.
Always. The drag queens want to be sexy women. They'll perform they're simulated sex acts on a stage, or anything filthy, anything shocking. And then I was against that. And then I saw people that I actually worked with. I saw one in particular who actually was a winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, in completely, naked, but covering his genitals in the dressing room with one of these kids. Oh. And I'm like, why? Why is that going on? Because I have been in the dressing room. There are drugs, there's pornography, underage drinking. It's just, it's a big party, an adult party. And I'm thinking, how are these drag queens behaving in front of these children? So then I came about the Drag Queen Storybook Hour. Somebody I knew did it, and I knew that this person was a prostitute. I knew they were a drug addict, and I'm thinking, why are we welcoming this element into with children? I don't get it. Then I would see their acts, and I could tell, because I've been doing it for a while, they were trying. They can't turn their acts into a child-friendly act. So you will often see them twerking, removing their clothing, things like that. And I'm thinking, at any point do these performers realize these are children? And why are they continuing this adult act? There are some that don't. I'm not going to say that they've all done it.
Right.
But even the ones who don't do it, my problem is this. They are there for an agenda. They're not there to read Alice in Wonderland and just leave. They're not there. They're there to talk about gender. They're there to talk about being different. and then then the whole lifestyle gets talked about, homosexuality, trans issues, the 10 million genders that we have. They'll tell boys, hey, you can
Jesus.
be a girl if you want, things like that. So they're educating these kids on these issues.
I was stuck.
It's
sorry, I was stuck back at 73. Now you're telling me there's 10,000?
But it's an infinite number.
I have got some studying to do.
We got our work cut out for tonight after the show's over.
I tell you what, for the next 6 nights for our live performances,
pounding away at the
we're
keyboards.
going to be doing nothing but listing off the 10,000 genders.
Oh, man.
But it just bothered me. And it bothered me that I didn't see anybody speaking out against this. And so I made a video basically saying to heterosexual America, because they're the ones that can fix this. They're the ones that are allowing it. They're the ones taking their children to this stuff. And it's always the woke people, the yoga people, the vegans. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just saw a video the other day about it was some kid sitting on a stool, and some drag queen or something like that was giving like a lap dance to this kid and doing prancing around, doing very incredibly sexual. Hang on, they're doing very incredibly sexual movements, and it wasn't. I mean, that bothered me in and of itself. That's already enough. But then you see the mom standing right next to the kid, like cheering it on, like hell yeah, like this is an amazing experience for my son or daughter. I can't even remember the kid anymore. I was so busy looking at everything else going on that I don't even remember what what is going on here.
It was a little girl.
So you must know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, you must have seen that. So let me ask you, do you think that this is considered a form of child abuse?
Yes.
Well, okay, if you expose your child to pornography, I mean, you're not even supposed to take a little kid that age to a rated R movie. I mean,
right.
I think these are topics that are not meant for a child's mind. They don't even know what they want for dinner. It's like, how do they know anything about gender and sex and sexuality and
these are kids that can't even clean their rooms, let alone understand that whole thought process, in my opinion.
There are adults who don't even understand it. So I don't understand why. But what also bothered me is when I watched these performances, I would see the parents getting into it. They really liked the performance of the drag queen doing their thing and reading and whatever. And the kids often look confused, or they're looking around, and I've even heard reports that some kids get actually scared, because some of these drag queens, if you were to see me, you would be scared. I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. I'm a huge guy. Now, if I'm sitting there wearing platform heels and some big costume, and it's not, it's just not for kids. They don't understand.
and you've got the giant hair coming out, and everything's just bigger and grander with the drag queen's lifestyle. So yeah, I could definitely kind of see where that would be a little terrifying for a kid that's not been exposed to this kind of thing to begin with. And now I'm a kid. I'm supposed to be sitting down and listening to this person I'm a little terrified of read a story to me about some shit that I don't even know what they're talking about. That I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
And when you see even a drag queen, there's this thing in drag that you don't want to be seen during the day, because drag is a complete illusion of makeup and lighting. That's all it is. I mean, a lot of these drag queens, they're not even feminine little men. These are big guys that paint you out, and like the amount of paint you have to put on your face or makeup, it's a lot. You don't even look like a woman in person under regular lighting. So they're just very garish and big and scary. And from the ones I've seen, they're kind of sloppy too, and they're not even attractive. and they have no skills, no specific skills in teaching children reading or anything. They're just a guy who puts on makeup, and that's it. They have no qualifications that make them a child educator at all.
Did I ever tell you I used to put on makeup?
I was just thinking we ought to do a full show of us in drag.
of us injured. We've done that already for a Halloween
yeah,
special.
That's right. I forgot about that. I went as Hagatha. You went as was it Valerie? Valerie.
Yeah.
So, did you want to hit up the comment section? Looks like there's a lot of people that are tuning into this show tonight.
Yes, I do.
I can't read them, so you're gonna have to.
Yeah,
be able
I definitely
to do that for
appreciate
me.
all the interaction, you guys. This is awesome. Apparently, a lot of people really think Kitty is amazing.
Yeah.
So you got a huge fan base. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Wow, thank you.
So one Dawn from Facebook says LGBTQ, while trying to be inclusive, including children, is actually giving themselves a bad name. You don't involve children in adult acts. Right. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, Dawn, but if we're going to be inclusive, we have no choice but to include children in adult acts. Duh. Like, get it together, people. Sorry.
So basically, for the ones that are watching, if you guys have a question for Kitty and you want us to ask her, please go ahead in the comment section. Let us know what you want to ask her. But moving on.
DJ Pyrite from Twitch says Daniel and Anthony needs to have a Drag Live podcast. See, now, I think he meant show, but if it's a podcast, it's audio only. That would be, how would you pull off a drag
That means
podcast?
we're really into it. We don't want nobody knowing.
Audio only, girls.
What's funny, though, is that, I've seen a lot of your videos. It's not really funny, but I've seen a lot of your makeup tutorials. I've chimed in just to kind of keep up with you and see how things are going. Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing I love about the show that we do is that we are introduced to so many people, so many different cultures, backgrounds, and excuse me, and people who just live different lifestyles. And for us, you are the first guest that we've had on that, was a drag or is a drag queen. And what has this been like for you since you made that transition over to, I guess, the Republican side? Have the Republican, I guess, friends of yours, have they been more receptive to this whole situation with you kind of making that conversion over from Democrat to Republican? Ooh.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, I have never experienced more nice, warm, and friendly, giving, generous people. Really.
Really good.
It's great. I went to the Trump rally in Phoenix, mm-hmm. and me and my partner Mark, which is a black guy, we go there and we meet this Hispanic guy named Mario, a friend of ours, and he's this little Latino guy with like huge heels. That's his thing. He's like a gay for Trump. So he represents the gays. He wants everybody to know by his shoes or by his shirt, that he's gay, because he wants to represent. But he stood in line at the Trump rally. He was first in line. So this little Latino gay boy in heels is the first one in line. And he saved a spot for us. He came out to get us and bring us to the front of the line. And we met so many people on the way. And Mario was like this rock star with all these people there. And they knew we were gay. We're openly gay. We're wearing our Trump hats. We're just regular guys. But they knew we were a couple, and everybody just friendly, hugging us, welcoming us. It was almost like a church without the church,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And, I can't. There was nothing negative. I can't tell you anything negative that I've experienced except the very, very far crazy right people, because
right.
There's the crazy left and there's the crazy right, and they will just see my picture and they won't even listen to the message. They don't even realize that I'm trying to fight for kids.
Right.
But they see me and they automatically call me a demon, or they say I'm possessed, or I'm a molester or a pedophile, and that's fine. I'm done. Things don't really hurt my feelings. I'm 50 years old now, so I can.
Definitely.
I'm a man, so I can take.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Got to pull the plug, man.
Hold up. What? Kitty? You said you're a man?
Yeah.
Wait,
right, yeah.
Hold up. Wait, are you guys fucking punking me right now? You're a dude? You gotta be.
No, it's just for us, it's, again, the reasons why we do this show is to kind of open up people's minds. We have an audience that is not familiar or has seen us have a drag queen on the show before. And both me and Daniel are ever since I started doing this show about 2 years ago with Daniel, it's been on for the last 4, but my perception of people have changed, and not in a negative way. And what I mean by that is that it's given me an opportunity to literally sit down like we are right now and talk to individuals, to look past that. Yes, you are a drag queen in the moment, but beyond that, you're still a person. You're still a man. You're still a great person that when I've talked to you, it's been a very pleasant conversation. And I think part of what it is with the far left and far right, they can't seem to get past the image of what they see because they haven't taken the time to get to know you as a person. I'm glad we've had a chance to get to know Kitty, and
Dude, as like a Christian conservative, you're supposed to it's written in your rule books. You're supposed to despise Kitty with every fiber of your being. And
well, maybe I'm not so much Christian anymore. I don't know. All I know is that I look at Kitty as a person, and she's a good person.
Yeah,
and she's doing good things.
You're definitely a racist. I can tell.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm trying so hard.
You should definitely not do that.
I mean,
Kitty's got a black she sleeps with a black guy.
I know.
Okay, so you know this, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay,
yeah.
And you're okay with this?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine with it.
God, it's blowing my mind.
No,
right
it's
now.
just. But that's been the beautiful thing about this show is that it's taught me so much. There was a lot of things that I had this kind of dogmated view that I saw the world in such a way, but now, not everything is so black and white.
It isn't. It's all gray.
Yeah. So it's nice to be able to meet all the people that we have since doing the show, and to have you on and talk about certain things and certain subjects. It really kind of opens my eyes to a person that is not familiar with the drag scene to understand a little bit more why this is such an issue in the political arena, from the left and from the right. So, I don't know how this has kind of affected you getting to know Kitty, but I would assume probably likewise getting to know her as a person.
I've always kind of been that way. I've always been kind of from the what's the word? The outcasts. Basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Never mind, Dan.
Yeah. I came
that
up.
setup just went to shit.
Yeah. I came up in high school. I was literally like the goth guy,
yeah.
And I had the big baggy pants and the chains, and I painted my fingernails black. I was always trying to be outside the norm anyway. So and it turns out it was really, really weird. By the end of high school, we were kind of like popular, but we were a mixed match of a bunch of outsiders all conglomerated together, and it was really weird to have people that I've never met coming up and saying, "Hey, Daniel, what's up?" Mm-hmm. It's like, this isn't supposed to happen. So yeah, I mean, as far as people being different, I that's never been an issue with me. It's just, my mom's always taught me, like, treat people, like individuals, and just take it from there. Treat people the way you want to be treated until they treat you otherwise, and then all gloves are off. After that, if you're gonna treat me like shit, I can be a downright ornery asshole. I can, you've heard.
Did you ever think in the 4 years you've been doing the show, you would have had a drag queen on? No, you didn't.
I mean, it didn't like cross my mind as like, oh, that's probably out of the question. I'll tell you what. Literally, the only guest that I've ever turned down was a guy that had gone to jail for pedophilia, and he was trying to like make it like not that he was trying to make it okay, but he was trying to make it to understand from their perspective where they're coming from, and I was not comfortable with that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was the only guest I've ever turned down. I'm glad to have anybody on, because I'm infinitely curious, and like when I see a person like you, Kitty, whichever one of the three people you are, it's like I try to, or 35 people, I don't know. It piques my interest even more because I'm like, I'm trying to imagine, and I'd like to ask you this because I do wonder this sometimes. It's what's it like trying to juggle all of those different storyline threads at the same time without like going completely insane?
Well, the thing is, Kitty is basically, well, now anyway, since I'm not performing anymore, it's basically Billy with makeup. My name's Billy, but with makeup on. That's it. I use the makeup and the look to sell a message. Especially women. Women love it. Women love this, and they're the majority of my audience. And I do lives all the time, and we talk, and I talk to them, and they want to know about makeup, and it's how can I put it? It's just a vehicle now. The way I look, I could not get the message across about drag being bad for kids if I did not present myself in this way. they just wouldn't take it
So
seriously.
I am curious about where the namesake comes from. Where does Kitty come from? And my theory on this is Kitty and Billy look almost identical. Like you could take the top and the bottom of the B and just slide them on over to the L's to make the T's, and now you've got Kitty made out of your own
I never
name.
thought about that.
You put a lot of thought into that,
I
didn't you?
really didn't.
Really? I
No,
assumed maybe.
I picked it because I like cats, and also because I wanted to pick a name in drag. And often they do this. You either pick an ironic name or a name that doesn't really. It's kind of the opposite of you. I'm such a big guy, and I look at Kitty as something little. And the name Demure is like, classy, sophisticated, shy, coy, things like that. And I'm not that. So I just kind of picked a name that kind of described the opposite of what I am.
Right on. That's awesome. So
let's hit the chats and see what's been going on. This thing is kind of loaded up.
Yeah, I've got a few questions for you here from the audience here. So, Rebecca from Facebook asks, she says, okay, I went to school with a man who now plays Chanel in the drag queen world. Do you know her, Kitty? Chanel with Shanel.
Yes, I believe she's in Vegas.
In Vegas.
Wow.
She's a drag queen in Vegas. He's not I don't think he's one of these crazy drag queens. He's very beautiful. He really is. Beautiful drag queen. But the club I worked at, I think he was there once. I've never personally worked with him. I probably got him a drink or something. But no, he's a really, he's beautiful. He was on RuPaul's Drag Race. I want to say the first season. He's kind of like an older. He's not old. He's sort of a seasoned drag queen. But he's great.
Right on.
Seasoned drag queen.
Yeah, I'm not even going to ask questions. I got no questions for that. All right. So Marion asks, what is your opinion on drag queens basically taking over the club music scene? Martha Wash, Pepper Mache, Alternate, Thea Austin, Amber, etc., who are real female singers only getting very few bookings in the clubs. Is that something you can speak to?
I'm trying. That drag queens are taking over nightclub entertainment? I don't understand the question.
Yeah, the club music scene. I'm not really sure. I'm totally out of my depths on this one.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand the question, but I worked in a club in LA. We often had singers there all the time, like real singers, and all the famous drag queens, but I can't really answer for just mainstream nightclubs, but the gay clubs, the drag queens tend to be the celebrities. They and as far as and a lot of them are making music, and a lot of it sucks, and they just do it to make a quick dollar, and they really do it as a vehicle to make a seductive or provocative video. But I've yet to really. I think only one drag queen is actually a legitimate singer, and he goes by Adore Delano. But he was on, and Courtney Act, which were both on American Idol. And the interesting thing is they were on American Idol, and the Australian one, Courtney Act, went on, failed the audition as a guy, went back in drag, and actually got the job to be on American Idol. Same voice, same everything. And the other one, he made it pretty high in American Idol, didn't win, and then went into drag. But yeah, in the gay world, drag queens are celebrities, and they're kind of looked at as bigger celebrities than the real ones. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Now this is my personal question. Is there any animosity between drag queens who still look rather manly even in drag versus the ones that actually do look like I guess the term's traps, or is that a term for all? See, I don't know. Is there any animosity between?
The more you look like a woman in drag, the more they'll say it's a fishy look, and fish meaning like tuna between a woman's leg. Okay, that if you're called fishy, that means you look like a woman in drag. But yeah, there are, I want to say, there are boxes within the drag world. Yeah, some will say you look like a dude in a wig. Some will call you a cross-dresser if you don't look good. But the thing in drag is it's very hypercritical of each other, and they sabotage each other too. steal their makeup, steal their wigs.
Pretty cutthroat in that industry, huh?
So not only are dudes
it,
trying to dress like women, but they're trying to take on the mannerisms of women too.
well, but it's funny because they are just they're the way that they're like men. They can act like girls all they want, but when it comes to them actually in competition, they are very much like men.
Right.
They are they are driven. They're aggressive. They will win at any cost.
Wow.
And that's where their man side comes up. I don't care how gay or flamboyant they are. That masculine side will surface.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. I lost my spot. Dia is going to be on the show tomorrow. She's asking, is she on with us tomorrow in 18 hours? I need math help. Okay, Dia, if you're paying attention right now, just for math's sake, and since we're live, right now it's almost 8 o'clock our time. So if that helps,
do the math.
Yep. So it's almost 8 o'clock our time. So you can show up anytime between 2 p.m. and we'll figure it out tomorrow. I'll get with her after the show. Anyway, yeah. Is there any other questions that you had for?
No, not anything that I can think of. I just, it's been great having her on. It really has. So we just want to thank everybody for.
Guys again. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for hopping in tonight in the comment section, and supporting obviously Kitty, and to be a part of this, for the first time. We'd love to have you back on, and if there's anything in the near future that you want to discuss or come on the show and talk about, we would love to have you. We got to get ready for Dia tomorrow, and then of course we got Hagatha coming on the show on Saturday. So that's going to be an interesting one.
In the comment section here, Sylvia from YouTube says, we're all born naked and the rest is drag.
Hey, that's a great way to look at it, I guess.
Rhonda from Facebook says, I've been to one drag show and I didn't get uncomfortable till the restrooms.
I didn't even think about
that. Yeah.
Wow.
The drag, at the club, the women get especially irritated because all the drag queens all of a sudden think they're girls, and they'll all go into the dressing room, into the women's restroom and hang out. And when I worked there, when I wasn't doing drag, I had to kick them out all the time. Women do not like that.
Oh, wow. So I do have one more question popped up here. Jennifer from Facebook says, Kitty, can you speak on where you stand on other political issues? I know the illegal immigration issue was a big one for you that we talked about earlier, and as well, of course, drag issues and.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you can think of?
Yeah, sure. There's tons.
Well, just kind of on her mind.
Well, I want to talk about before this whole coronavirus came up. I was booked to do this talk at a school in Chico. I kind of want to say this to all the parents out there. At this school in Chico, I was asked to do a job, be part of a discussion panel, because there's 470 something elementary school kids in this specific school, and over 300 claim to be LGBT.
Wow.
And that is why I really am pushing the Drag Queen Storybook Hour, being against it, because you have these kids that are I think it's confusing children. To bring up these gender issues are confusing children. They're, I just think it's horrible. And I really implore parents out there to just let your kid grow up organically, and do not put these ideas in their head that they can change their sex or their gender or anything. If it's a boy who likes pink, let him like pink without telling him he might be a girl.
Right.
Just, it's just, there's this huge feminization of boys that is going on. And that's something that I think, that I would assume that even gays should be against, since gays gay men like men. They tend to not like the little sissy guys. They want a real man. So we need to stop the sissification of straight men and gay men. But what's interesting, what you just brought up, it's something I hadn't considered before. It's this idea that when you sit there and put this shit in front of kids, and they're sitting there hearing this stuff, and then, like you said, 300 out of the whole population thinking they're part of LGBTQ now because of what they've heard. Yeah. It made me think, how impressionable kids are in terms of, say, when I was a kid, I remember multiple times we'd finish watching a Jackie Chan movie, and for the next, 3 days, I was a ninja. I was doing everything. I thought I was a ninja. I'd watch a scary movie, right. And then all of a sudden, behind every door was, something was going to jump out at me. Your imagination takes over, and it becomes kind of real in a way. So I can totally understand why a kid might
sit down for a drag queen story hour, for example, be propagandized with this stuff that they don't quite understand yet, and think, yeah, maybe I could. That maybe I can imagine it. So maybe it's real. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's just not helpful at all. Not helpful.
No,
at all.
It's not.
So, Kitty, what do you think of gay marriage versus civil unions? That's another question from Sylvia in YouTube.
Well, I guess in the end, the rights are the same, right? I mean, I guess what would you call a wedding happening in a church, a civil union happening at City Hall or wherever you want? Is that the only difference? I mean, but me personally, I choose not to get married. Not because I think it's immoral. It's because I just don't think that the government should really be a part of my relationship. And there's really no benefit to me anyway. You know, I don't need to, there's these gays that kind of want to kind of be a part of what heterosexual tradition is, and they want to be accepted, and they want to strong arm their way into things. But gays have existed forever, you know, and yes, I believe, you know, I should be able to leave property to the person I love, or I should be able to see the person I love, but we can do those things. But I don't know. I'm not really a big proponent of, you know, gays being married. I mean, I'm not against it either. I just think it's an individual thing.
So I do have a question for you. Given the age that you are, have you ever thought about wanting a family, or, you know, wanting kids, or, I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, with you being older now, I'm not sure what your thoughts are. I didn't mean that as a jab at your age. I promise.
No, I don't care. I'm not a real woman.
Wait, I'm so confused
you
tonight.
keep fooling us, Kitty.
So
Come
confused.
on.
First you're a man, and now you're not a real woman. Which is it, man?
You just called her a man.
But what? Okay, wait. Can you repeat the question again?
If you ever wanted a family, kids.
I think I've kind of gone beyond that. I mean, I guess it's something you think about when you're younger, but at my age, I know guys my age who want to have kids, and I'm like, why would you want to do that to yourself? Like, especially when you're 50 or in your 50s. I mean, I don't want to chase after a kid. I don't want to change diapers, and I definitely don't want to deal with the school system and putting my children in a school system of today. I mean, it just amazes me. The things that, you know, I know a kid who got sent home and got suspended for calling a girl a babe, you know, a 9-year-old boy calling a girl a babe or something like that. And I don't know. I think it's way too hard to be a parent these days. I just do. I think they don't have the rights that they should have to discipline their kids, and I don't know. I have no desire to be a parent.
I'm sensing a topic we might actually disagree on.
Oh, really?
Because I have 4 kids and started, you know, I've been peacefully parenting them for at least a decade now. I don't believe in spanking. I don't believe in, you know, discipline is different from spanking, but it's a topic that comes up all the time. So that might be something, if we have you on again, we might actually get a little more into a debate type scenario on that to see what we think. But it's running up on our hour right now. I do want to throw out one more comment that I saw that I think is very impactful. I think it's a good one here from Tommy T from Facebook. Says, Kitty is the very reason this Democrat who works at Democrat headquarters has chosen to stand up for my own views and not follow suit. And now she's caused me to leave my life. LMAO, JK, not her fault. Kitty is awesome.
No, I do. I do. And I have found that people, you know, I don't tell people what to believe. I just kind of set an example and kind of just talk my own point of view. And I have seen it has woken people up. And it's not my idea to change people's minds. I mean, because I'll accept them regardless if I like, you know, like we talked about before, you know, I'll accept people of different political views. But sometimes when you start talking to people with different political views, and, you know, you start, you know, kind of thinking, well, I think that way, and I never thought about it that way. And, you know, and then I have found people are more brave to be themselves. I mean, it takes a lot of balls to be a drag queen and to do this and come on and put yourself out there. And I think that I have found that has inspired a lot of people to be a little more honest with their friends and families on just the, you know, things, you know, political things and morals and things like that. But I don't know. I love it. I love actually, you know, kind of shining a light on things for people who may not look at things a certain way.
Isn't it strange that in today's world, it seems to be more acceptable for a grown man to put on women's clothing and makeup than it is for anyone to wear a "Make America Great Again" hat?
You never thought I would see that day. Never would have thought it. But well,
I would feel safer dressing like this, walking in Kentucky or whatever people consider a redneck state, than I would wearing a MAGA hat walking through West Hollywood.
You heard that, Kentuckians. She thinks you're a bunch of rednecks.
And she's on her way.
I concur.
Well, Kitty, Kitty, it was great having you on tonight. For the folks that are still on with us, Hagatha will be on the show this Saturday, 7 p.m. Dia Beltran, who had her little tiff with Hagatha, she will be on tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Or so, if we get our scheduling figured out.
Or so, anyway, if she can figure out the math, I guess you can say.
Yep,
so.
and if y'all want to share, if you would do us a favor and share, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, we'd be thrilled to have more people come to our show and have these conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, this is what we have. This is what our show is all about. We have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. Tonight has been no different, and I definitely appreciate everybody coming on. And until tomorrow, we'll see you till then.
Yeah, keep your pants dry and your dick wet.
It's good. I mean, I don't.
He wants to come up with a different one. I like it.
He's got his own. He's got his own outro statement. I haven't come up with one yet. Do you got one for us? You want to throw out there?
Kitty?
And we'll wrap on that.
No. I just want to thank everybody for watching. Follow me on all social media and be safe. Don't get coronavirus and die.
Don't get coronavirus and die.